The script element is used for including scripting language code in your HTML. It's most commonly used with JavaScript. You may put the code inline or you may link to an external file. Let's make a working copy of javascript.html. And we'll rename our working copy to be javascript-working. I'll open that in my text editor, and you'll see this is a very simple file. A little bit more down here. So all this does is it has a little JavaScript function here that counts once a second, and it puts the output in this element by ID output. And if you'd like more details on JavaScript and how to write good JavaScript, I strongly suggest you take Simon Allardyce's excellent JavaScript Essential Training course here on lynda.com. So without going into a lot of details about the JavaScript, let's talk about the script element. So here you see the script element, and you'll notice I have type equals text/JavaScript. Over the years, there have been a number of different things that a person could put in the script element to indicate what the language is of the script. Now, the truth is that 99 times out of 100, the language is going to be JavaScript. I have yet to see anybody put another language in the script element in an HTML file on a public-facing web server. Perhaps in some intranets or something, there's something else, but I've not seen it. So we say type equals text/JavaScript. That's the MIME type for JavaScript. That's the standard. It's been the standard way to do this for a number of years. So inside of the script element, the content of the script element is the JavaScript. And again, there's a lot of things that people will put around the JavaScript to obscure it from browsers that might not understand it. But the truth is, on the modern internet, there aren't any browsers anymore that won't understand some simple JavaScript. So in some extreme cases, perhaps there's some things that you might need to do, but in most cases, there's not. You'll notice down here in the H2 element, I have a span element, and the span element has an ID attribute, and the ID attribute says output. Now, we've seen the ID attribute used for CSS ID selectors, but in this case, we're using the same ID attribute to select the element for the JavaScript. So we have E equals document get element by ID output, and now this E variable is that element, and we can use a property on that inner HTML to actually change the contents of that output element. And that output element is span in this case, and it has a 0 there, but it'll have different numbers as we increment our counter. So let's go ahead and save this and open it in the browser. I'm going to open this in Firefox, and there we have it. And you see, there it is counting away 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. As I've said, this ID attribute is often used for style sheets. And in fact, I can come in here and I can say style, and I can use it as a CSS selector. And now I can do things to that output element. Like, for instance, I can change its color, make it a little bit reddish. I can give it a background color, and I can give it a border. And when I save this and load it up in the browser, I'll just hit reload here. See, we start at 0 again when I reload, and there it is. It's got its border, it's got its yellow background, and it has the reddish text. So we see how to do this with JavaScript inside of the document, but more often than not, your JavaScript is going to be in a separate JavaScript file. So the script element is actually a little bit quirky in this way. It's going to look like this, and you'll notice that I have the end tag and I have empty content. So why don't I just do it like this instead? Because that we know is the shortcut for an empty tag. Well, the reason we don't do that is that that doesn't work. It doesn't work in several browsers that I've tried. In fact, off the top of my head, I seem to remember it worked in 1 or 2 browsers, but I don't remember which ones they were. It definitely does not work in Firefox. So in this case, and in this case alone, you need to actually use the begin tag and the end tag, and it needs to be completely empty. You can't do that. It needs to be completely empty. So you notice my source says count.js. If we can open up count.js in our text editor, and you can see it's exactly the same code. And when I load this in my browser, you'll notice that it works just great. So the script element is used to include code in a scripting language in your HTML. It's most commonly used with JavaScript. You may learn more about JavaScript in Simon Allardyce's excellent JavaScript Essential Training course here on lynda.com.